Then we're going to have independent variable and dependent variable. Our independent variable is our input. Sometimes, most of the time we'll call that x. Our dependent variable is our output. That'll be our y. So the independent variable affects the dependent variable. That is, if I take a look at this person, the hand affects the balance of the person balancing here. So the hand affects the person, or I'd say the person's balance, my output, depends on the hand. So however the hand moves, that's what's going to happen to the person's balance. So that's another key. When you look at a problem, you might want to write that with the word depends. So if I look in this question here, it says in warmer climate, the average amount of electricity used rises as the average daily temperature increases and falls as the daily temperature decreases. So in other words, I'm going to say the electricity used depends on the temperature. Now we're going to write our independent variable. I'll say IV for independent variable. Well, that's going to be our temperature then, isn't it? And our dependent variable, I'll use dV, that'll be the electricity used. Now let's see on example 4. Let's pause the video and do the problem yourself, and then come back and check. Okay, so let's take a look at example 4. It says the number of calories you burn increases as the number of minutes you walk increases. Identify the independent and dependent variables for this function. Okay, so my calories burned increase as I walk. So in other words, calories burned depends on the minutes walked. So in other words, my minutes walked is my independent variable. Change colors here so we can see that. And my calories burned is going to be my dependent variable. Now, example 5 is another relation. If we take a look at it here, it says the graph represents the temperature inside the winter day. Describe what's happening in the graph. So if I look at the graph here, I'm looking at time, and it looks like my temperature goes up, then it goes down a little bit, up a little bit, down a little bit, up and down. And then finally it falls. So what I would, this would be kind of like an office building during the day, or maybe the school building, like the school entrance. So what happens is the day starts off and the temperature rises, okay? The morning kicks in, the heat kicks in, the temperature rises. Well, then what happens, the doors open and close. And so when the door opens, the temperature rises, so the heat kicks back in and falls, and it goes like that for several times. Then towards the end of the day, the heat shuts off, and that's it. So you just want to write that in terms of a story. You want to make sure we have the context, that you have to have the time and the temperature, and then you can make up the story however you want.